You know that feeling, right? You're totally stuck, just overthinking every single possible outcome of a big project until you end up doing nothing at all. Now, you probably think you know what's holding you back, but today we're going to dive into a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea. What if we sometimes sabotage ourselves, not because we're scared of failing, but because we're secretly afraid of what happens when we actually succeed? I mean, think about it. If I asked you right now why you're procrastinating, what would you say? I bet it's this, right? The fear of failure. It's the classic answer. It's what we all tell ourselves. It's the easy explanation for why we just can't seem to get started. But what if that's not really the whole picture?
Yeah, what if the real roadblock isn't about crashing and burning at all? What if it's something way more subtle, something that's actually connected to the idea of winning itself?
And boom, here it is. This slide just nails the core idea we're talking about. For so many of us who get stuck in our heads, the subconscious fear isn't really about failure. Nope. It's a deep down resistance to change, the very change that success is guaranteed to bring. Okay, so let's get into our first section. We're talking about an internal battle here, the clash between wanting success and being attached to who you are right now. I know, it sounds a little weird, right? I mean, how could winning possibly feel like a threat?
And listen, this fear isn't about becoming some terrible person. It's about becoming a different person. You start worrying, will success make me too busy for my friends? Will I become distant from my family? You're afraid you'll lose that familiar person you see in the mirror every day. And that feeling, that potential loss of the you that you know, man, that can be absolutely terrifying.
This actually leads us to a really cool concept called a journey identity. Think about it. When you've spent years, literally years, grinding and chasing a dream, the chase itself becomes who you are, right? The late nights, the hustle, the struggle, that whole process becomes your identity. So here's the catch. The moment you actually succeed, that journey is over. The chase ends. And that striving version of you, the person whose whole identity was wrapped up in the pursuit, poof, they're gone. And as weird as that sounds, it can feel like a massive loss. I mean, if you're not the person trying to achieve X anymore, who are you? And this resistance, it goes even deeper than just our own internal identity. This quote really hits it home. We quietly resist outgrowing our environment. See, success doesn't just change you, it changes your entire world. It can create distance between you and the people, the habits, even the places that feel like home. So let's break down what that cost of success actually looks like. And to be clear, this has nothing to do with not being ambitious. It's a subconscious fear of, the price you have to pay to get into this new life. We're talking about leaving old habits behind, maybe growing apart from certain people, and losing that cozy feeling of what's familiar. It's no wonder your brain might just slam on the brakes to avoid all that. All right, so that's the whole internal battle. But it's not just about how you see yourself, is it? Let's switch gears and talk about the external side of things, the pressure that comes when success changes how everybody else sees you. And this is a huge source of pressure. Think about it. As long as you're just working on something, you get to live in this cozy, safe little bubble of potential. Everyone says, oh, they're going to do big things one day. But the second you succeed, one day is today. Suddenly, the spotlight is right on you. And you're not judged on your potential anymore. You're judged on your results. And wow, that kind of visibility can feel really, really exposing. Now, here's another wild psychological trick our brains play on us. Overthinkers don't just plan for success. They live it out in full HD in their minds. They can already feel the applause. They can see the recognition. So what's the problem? Well, that mental victory lap can feel so good, so satisfying, that it completely kills the motivation to do the actual work. It's like your brain goes, hey, we already got the reward. Why bother with the hard part? And this is where that good old perfectionism kicks in. See, the overthinker often sees success not as a journey, but as this final, permanent, one-shot deal. It's like they believe one wrong move will define them for the rest of their lives. So, of course, every single step feels impossibly high stakes. So what happens is their mind builds this totally impossible path to success. It looks something like this. First, you have to wait for the perfect plan, no exceptions. Then, you have to make one single, flawless move. And finally, you have to live with that result forever. I mean, it's a completely flawed model, and it's what keeps them totally paralyzed. Because we all know real success is messy, right? It's all about trial and error and making a bunch of imperfect moves and fixing things as you go. So it all comes back to this one powerful, central idea. Everything we've talked about, the fear of your identity changing, of outgrowing your life, the pressure of being seen, the terror of making one wrong move, it all points to the same conclusion. Maybe, just maybe, what's holding you back isn't a fear of failure. Maybe you're actually shielding your eyes from the bright light of success.
And that leaves us with one last question, something for you to really think about. If you could just strip away all that fear, the fear of change, the fear of leaving your old self behind, what would you go after? What success would you finally chase if you weren't so afraid of who you might become on the other side?